Eric? It's unfortunate for us, but not James, that we had one bid that came through. I suspected there would be more, but one is good enough. It is better than none. I just, so I wanted to thank the group, and I wish you, I just want to thank everybody for spending. We've met every 2 weeks for about 6 months. And some of our meetings were quite long. And I would also then like to turn the meeting over to our lawyer, Chuck Andrus. And he is, go ahead, Chuck. You can, he is our lawyer that we have selected to work on this process with us. And he's going to give a brief rundown of where we are on the encroachment issue on 35 Railroad Street.
Thank you, Henry. I'm Chuck Andrus. I'm an attorney at practice at Barkley Damon. I do a lot of work with the town of Salisbury, representing the Planning and Zoning Commission, and generally work in municipal and land use. That's my background. When these guys hired me, it was I'm basically involved in 2 things. One was the process, but there was the like you saw the packet that was put together for the soliciting the bids. But to help make sure that process was a fair process and that people knew how to do it, so everyone could be treated fairly. So that was helping with that. And the second, and this is what Henry just referred to, is discussions with the inn about some land swap, easement swap. And that's Ms. Weedoff is here this evening. I've been speaking with her attorney, Gail McTaggart, who is an excellent attorney. I know it's in another context. And the basic deal is that what the town would be doing would be providing a permanent easement, vehicular easement over the parking lot to allow vehicles to get to the back of the restaurant, which is what happens now. So that would be permanent, that would run with the land. So whoever owns it, that would that would be a right that comes with the land. In addition to that, there's a pedestrian use, the gravel walkway. If you walk to the inn and you can go inside for the outdoor dining, that is where people go now into the inn. So that would also be included, a permanent pedestrian easement. And in exchange, there's the actual firehouse that actually encroaches. If you look at the property line. It's there when we did the survey by Matt Cooper, there's about 6 to 12 inches where it actually encroaches on the property. So the goal is to get some additional land in the back, so it will be a conforming building. It's a 30-foot setback. So there would be a chunk of land about 30 by 60 feet that would be given from the inn to us. This is assuming that mortgage approval, there's some other contingencies involved. But that's our agreement in principle. I have we have an engineer, we have a map. I can show anyone afterwards. You want to come up, I can show you exactly where we are. But it's been going well. It's certainly this Weedoff attorney is an excellent attorney, and we're hoping we'll get there. There's some other process issues we're going, but that's essentially the deal on that side.
I'm going to turn this over very shortly to James, and we are going to, for questions, when we get to the question part of this, we're going to have Mark Burdick is going to be our moderator. And I asked that everybody, for Mark's benefit, and for the benefit of the recording that we obviously have in progress, that you state your name and while you ask your question. So.
Also, the way to go, so the presentation is just purely a presentation. We'll do the questions and answers after. But we are Zoom, we're a hybrid meeting, so we have Zoom as well. So I think the proposal, live questions from people in the room, and then questions from Zoom. So that's
Yeah, we do have it, so they will come through the chat.
so everybody on Zoom, you'll have a chance at the end of the after everybody's at least on once. We'll play it by ear a little bit. Right. Okay.
All right. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'm James Gillespie. I moved here with my beautiful wife and son who are out there in the hallway in 2020 from New York City. And, you know, we love this town and we love this area, and we are just really excited to be here and to present this idea for the town, for the community. And, you know, it's a privilege to be here amongst you all.
Can everybody hear okay?
I'll try and enunciate more. I've got to work on my public speaking skills anyway. So, so can everybody hear me in the back now? Okay, great. Can I also get a show of hands who've seen this proposal online? Has most of everybody seen it? Okay, so that's a majority. So yeah, so I will, sorry, I'm just learning how to deal with this interface, pardon me. So yeah, so gosh, let me get rid of all these screens. There you go. All right. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Sorry, one second. So I will briefly introduce the concept for the Health and Wellness Center that you all are pretty familiar with at this point. So the working title is the Falls Village Health and Wellness Center, and its main purpose is to transform the firehouse into a dynamic hub for health and wellness, serving the community and neighboring areas. On the first floor, there will be a gym, which will offer kind of cardio, strength and training, kind of equipment with showers and lockers. We'll go into that more later. Christine Gray is here, who worked on the architectural plans. And then on the second floor, we'll have offices for health practitioners. And so there'll be 4 offices for, the idea is to, you know, have practitioners like physical therapists, acupuncturists, of that sort. And then also on the second floor, there will be a large multi-purpose space that could be used for various activities and events for the community, such as, you know, yoga or whatnot. So that has a separate stairwell, which gives it a lot more possibilities. And yeah, I think the one thing I wanted to note is, you know, we will not be executing these plans. We're going to find people to execute the plan. So in the spirit of, you know, bringing everybody together in the community, I open it to everybody to like help us find those people to be the business owners that run these, the gym and the practitioners. I think that's so the building will be purpose built. So just a little bit about me. We're going to get more into the details. So I graduated from Yale in 2006. I've exhibited artwork nationally. I've built a successful career in New York, technology design and strategy. I work at an agency in New York and Brooklyn called Athletics. And my wife and I, Sarah, we moved here in 2020 and celebrated welcomed our son Benjamin into the world in October. And I wanted to say, our move here from New York was really supported by Bunny Williams, who's here. She has welcomed us and gave us a home to live in. It's amazing. And she's had extensive knowledge and involvement in the community for years. And, we're with her full support and endorsement, we're here and we're excited to propose this idea. So to get to the meat and potatoes, we'll start I'm gonna kind of fly through this. So, because a lot of you have already read it. So I think there's some visuals here, and I hope Christine could, if she wants to at the end, talk about the plans in more detail. But I'll go through some of the goals for the first floor, second floor, and some of the marketing ideas. So the primary goal is to, create a well-lit, clean, welcoming gym facility that focuses on the first floor, focuses on cardio and strength, conveniently located bathrooms, showers, lockers, and make it a nice light-filled space with windows with a garage door, maximizing just light and beautiful space. State-of-the-art equipment, ensuring members have access to the latest advancements and the newest technologies and whatnot. I'm a bit of a technophile, so I love all the latest and greatest. And we want to emphasize that this would be a space to train with trainers and work with the health practitioners on the second floor. So it's an integrated experience that it's a destination for health and wellness. So on second floor, you can go up the stairwell in the back or on the side. Dedicated purpose-built offices for healthcare practitioners such as physical therapists, acupuncturists, and chiropractors. And then in the front of the building, there'll be a large 450 square foot flex. We're going to call it a multi-use flex space, which can be used by the community for events. It'll hopefully be able to, the plan is to make like an online booking capability. So, we'd have people be able to host events, the yoga, discussion groups, whatnot. And then, provide that integrated experience for the practitioners upstairs. Second floor goal is kitchenette, making it nice for somebody to go to work to every day. Comfortable environment, health, heating, air conditioner, nice, good Wi-Fi, a welcoming room, stuff like that. Just what you would kind of expect at a doctor's office or whatnot. Nice bathrooms, ADA compliant. And then stairwell, I think, making sure it's accessible with help of a, what do you call it? Like a lift, sorry. And then stair lift, thank you. Yeah, I think the stairwell is wide enough to accommodate that. And end of the hallway, nice glass door. So that's the overall concept. Supported to support this and to kind of get the community to, this is obviously a great forum to do it, but I built the site in order to solicit, feedback and any thoughts and ideas on what it could be and what it could become, and who, nominating people who you think would be good to run the gym, or, be a health practitioner. I want to start those conversations probably sooner than later if this works out. So the website is fvhealth.center, and you can sign up for newsletters and fill out a form and give us your ideas. So this is just going through what the website kind of clearly states, so I won't go into each of these items. But so with all that said, I'm gonna now get into the plans. I don't know, Christine, if you want to jump in and speak to some of these designs, but I don't know if you all can see these clearly, but this would be kind of the primary entrance from the parking lots, and there would be a front desk. And it's not like a giant gym, but I actually think that's what's kind of great about it. And there's an integrated stairwell there that you can go upstairs to stretch and whatnot, do classes. And there's a nice bathroom with lockers, and it's it'll be a nice space, community space. It's not going to be a huge gym, but I think that's actually what's kind of nice about it. I don't know, Christine, do you want to jump in or add anything?
So both bathrooms and showers, all of the doors that are as are the features.
Yeah.
And it's plenty of space, but it also more than enough.
Yeah.
For
Yeah. And then here's the second floor layouts, just so you can see more clearly. Back stairwell, where there could be a lift, and bathroom, little waiting area, kitchenette, so practitioners could eat and have their lunch. Nice spaces actually. And then at the end, you'll see this bigger space, which will have beautiful windows. The plan is to vault the ceiling and let as much light in as there as possible to make it as activate the space as much as possible. And then this is the site plan, which it might be a little hard to read, but in general, this is the building, and this is the parking lot with I don't know, Christine could probably speak much better to this than I can, but proposed easement here for the parking lot and sidewalk running to the right of the building in front, with some plantings kind of around the perimeter. Septic plans are there. So anyway, these things you can look into more clearly on the website. So these are the front elevations. I don't know, Christine, if you want to speak more to the entryway, but I think this is pretty clear. Like, this would be the main entrance, and this to the studio, and this to the offices. So, and then the nice garage doors that could be opened in summer months, a day like today, really. And then these are the amazing renderings Christine put together. I think you can really see what it could become, and it's pretty inspiring, I think. And yeah, and then I think this is the end of my. Oh, right. No, I haven't finished. Proposed timeline. Now, this is a very kind of notional right now, but I think you can read through this, but I think if it all goes to plan, May 24, 2024 be the day we open the building to the public. Seems a bit ambitious, but it's good to dream. And then this is a part I know a lot of people are here to talk about. So I put this at the end. I feel like it's a part that, as potential business owners of the space, I think we definitely have some, we have some, I would say, like, this the street has been, the Jacobs Garage and the package store they've been there for 70 years or whatnot. And I feel like we see them thriving as businesses and we, basically the idea is to just help the town or have the town help us make a plan to figure out where all the cars go, like especially for parking for the firehouse and the packaging store. So it's just an opportunity really to find a way to work together and where to put all the cars, I think that's the question really we have as just, investors in the building. And, we're here today to discuss it and find a solution together. And then, just a shared cost negotiation, but I know, the parking part and finding a collective agreement, how to move forward, I think is really where I wanted to end things. So yeah, so that's the plan. Yeah.
I think now is the time to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Mark. We would just state the name for the record. Not sure how it's being voice recorded but whatever. Just state the name. If I don't, then even if I just, and we'll entertain questions for. But let's try to run everything through me so that we don't get cross talking. Okay, Dave. All right. So, I'd like to address how things are moving out and why we have up on the left side. We need to be finance previous.
Great. Speak.
Right, so, previous offer, was an as-is offer. Current offer is, 300,000 was bid plus, the town was looking to kick in, where the applicants looking for the town to kick in towards some of the upgrades that planning zone was looking to do. I guess I'm just trying to make a point that our as-is offer is probably about 80 to the previous offer or to this current offer. So we're also told multiple times that we would not be chosen because of this was due to the fact that the town wanted a new business in town and that business that had already been. So I just want to make a point that the town has kicked out existing business from the young family that has attempted to stay in Falls Village and has supported about business. And again, also we did not submit a new offer because the price went up by a third. And all the added restrictions and prices up. And I didn't want to ask the town to be involved in handling the septic or the parking lot or any of that stuff, because I don't think that's good. If you buy a piece of property, that's your property. And you should be care of that stuff, not the town. Also, I'd like to ask a question. Why wasn't the resolvement on the encroachment issue disclosed before the bidding process?
Okay, thanks, Dave. Is there an answer to the question?
I can address the encroachment issue. The the bid doc, the public papers that that were available to everyone did indicate that there wasn't encroachment, that the existing building wasn't encroachment. There was a the resolvement. Yeah, there was a recommendation in there that, basically what it's done, that an easement be exchanged for an additional 30 feet. That was in one of the recommendations in the paperwork, from the engineer. So that was, and it isn't completed yet. And, you know, it's contingent on numbers, but it was thought. Well, it's contingent, and we don't have the bank so through or so forth, but the notion, and it still has a patent, but it is evolving, but the concept was publicly mentioned and recommended by one of the engineers.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, if you could just have them elevate their voices if they can, because we're not hearing enough.
There's nothing, okay, yeah, if you could just speak loudly, please, it's our recording is not quite picking it up, Louis.
I'd like a clarification on Mr. Jacobs' question. One, he asked whether he was told, or I want to know whether the answer is to whether he was told that the town did not want an existing business, but wanted to do it. One, and two, his point about the encroachment was that his offer was as is, and not that that was a factor in the price that he offered. And the other question, the final question I have, not one that I'm referring to him, but that is, if the town is obligating itself, and that need to be clarified on that issues and some of the side issues, why isn't the price lower so that the buyer can then handle that? Why is the price set and then a further obligation for the town to invest the people's money in it, when that usually is handled, like if I'm selling property and the septic system is bubbling to the grade, then my price is going to be lower. I'm not going to sell the property and then after the fact, agree to pay more to fix the septic system, if you see what I mean. So are those three questions I'm posing clear?
Yes.
Thank you.
I have to come back, Louis, to get
Well, I
them all,
can
but-
repeat the first one.
Yeah.
The first one is,
stick one.
was it true or not true? That Mr. Jacobs was told that the building was not, the town did not, and by the town, we're not talking about the town because the people are sovereign, so it's not the town, it's someone who is speaking to the town, but that he was told that that building was not to be sold to a local business because they wanted an outside business. Is that true or not true? The second question is relating to the encroachment that Mr. Jacobs said his offer was as is. So the encroachment issue was not an issue with vis-a-vis mortgage and financing. And the third question is, why isn't the price lower so that the buyer can fix it him or herself?
Okay, is there an answer?
Let's go through the questions one at a time. I specifically went over and saw David because David was under that impression. I told him that that was not true. I think that Greg went over, or was it you, David?
Greg, I believe, was it? Excuse me. Yeah, I had a conversation.
It was Greg, also went over and had the same conversation. This was a transparent process. Anybody could have made a bid. That is number one. Number two, even though there are conditions that they said they would like to talk to us about us contributing certain things, that does not mean that the town will approve that. You know, as far as we were concerned, the price was 300,000 as is. There are some things that we probably would do.
Why? Price would be lower to accommodate smart market. So it would be
Well, because we are applying for the state to put sidewalks to the entire town. And if that goes through, then we would have sidewalks. There are a couple other things, but as far as the septic system goes,
Can you clarify what the couple of other things are? Sorry.
you know, I don't I'm not thinking, maybe there are no other things, but I think that there are things that we do want to make this part of our town, make it nice, make it historical, keep the character of the town. And if we can, do things on the street to make it more attractive that are on our right of way, like a sidewalk, those are things that we would probably do. But just because there are conditions imposed doesn't mean that we will agree to those conditions. Does that answer your question, Lou? And what was the third question?
Price.
The third question is, you answered it in part. Excuse me, through the moderator.
Yeah.
The third question was relating to contributions the town would make, that you say there's no obligation in the agreement, but whatever the agreement say, council can address that. Does or does not the town have obligations after the sale to finance some of the improvements of the building and the real estate in connection with the building?
No,
If it doesn't, if it doesn't for certain, then that answers my question. The sale is the sale, and after that, it is the buyer's obligation to deal with the improvements and adjustments and changes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
right. I think that the first condition, which has to do with parking, is something that I think that the whole town has to address. Improving parking.
But that's the town's property, so
Yeah.
I'm not asking that question.
All right, so on the second question, the intention was, and I think that the bid that we sent out specifically stated that it was as is my position. Because somebody's asking for conditional help does not mean that we'll give it.
So it's.
Point of order, Lou, the Board of Selectmen has not discussed this package. We've received it. We purposely have not discussed it because we want to have this to get up this forum, this gathering, in order to have points of discussion with.
Through the moderator, then, is the question of whether or not the town has legacy costs after the sale, a proposition from the buyer that is not part of any agreement that council represents now.
You want to?
That's correct. This is just give us your proposal and say any conditions to your proposal. Is what we receive.
Thank you.
Further comment? Okay, next.
Mr. Moderator, Tom Scott, Long Road. You can do one question at a time. Is James the purchaser? Is James the purchaser?
Is Jay?
Yes, I am. I'm working with Salisbury Bank to mortgage, commercial mortgage right now. So I have a letter of intent from them. If that needs to be disclosed, I'm happy to provide that.
Is James going to be the actual one conducting business there in this proposal?
The plan is to to build out the space for this purpose that I just laid out and find business owners to operate the businesses and for.
No, I don't.
Right, yeah, so the point is that ostensibly I will be a landlord, be a landlord to the tenants, right? And that's the idea. I think, because I don't know how to run a gym, right? I don't know if you, so, but, my wife, Sarah, is currently studying for a master's in acupuncture. And so, we are invested in this, as a family, we're invested in health, and I think it's mutually beneficial to serve the community.
Got good comment on that one?
Some comments.
Tom, could I ask you if you can to raise your voice, if you can, just stop.
Or come up or something. We're not picking you up.
My comment is that this business of a gym, a wellness center, has already been satisfied in our community, wide in North Canaan. We got a brand new wellness center going up in North Canaan. And it's my opinion that this would be a big waste of time of the town to have this business going in here. We've got Jacobs here, who are been in business for 70 years. He's not gonna be the one looking for tenants to possibly be coming into this building. He's actually gonna have a business coming into this building, and he's gonna be hiring people to work, and it will be a vibrant business development. This business here, James, nothing personal.
Yeah.
But this sort of reminds me of what New York State did with their cannabis rules. They put in all these rules and never really figured out how it was gonna work, and they're in a big mess over there. And you go and put all this money into this building, make it look pretty, what's it gonna do? I mean, the Y up there in North Canaan, their bathrooms and locker rooms are bigger than this whole building. They're proposing to put a gym into it. I just don't see that work. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Pat?
Scott here, Jackson Road. First of all, I don't really, but, I think that whoever buys this building, it has the approval of the planning and zoning commission, and put whatever they would like, into the building, regardless of what we in the community might say. I know obviously we want the community to feel that we support you, so, no, that's the kind of, don't agree with, those remarks. I think that the buyer has the right, as long as he's meeting all conditions of the planning and zoning commission, to put in what he has, what he or she wants to put in, and also to be a landlord, as you have said. I don't think what Tom said has anything to do with that building being there. But I do have another question. In the package that was sent out and people bid on, was there a restriction or some kind of comment that David mentioned earlier, that this building was as is?
Answer.
Not that's this one, not the previous one, but the bid package that was sent out, it is saying that the building was to be sold as is.
Those exact words might not have been in there, but the minimum price was the bid price was $300,000 as is.
Well, if our minimum price is $300,000 as is, and as is in.
Without looking at the document, Pat, that was the intent of it. I don't know if Chuck has it in front of him or not, but the intent was as is.
I can just pull it up. It says the property will be sold in its as is condition.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
What I was referring to, and I had the RFP here, and this was a memo from George Hansen that was part of the bid practice that says, I would recommend negotiating a land swap of 30 feet with the inn. In return, they would be granted a 24 5-foot easement through the firehouse property. So that was disclosed as part of this. That is one of the recommendations. Again, it hasn't happened, but that was a recommendation. And by the way, that will be subject to town meeting approval. So it's up to the voters to whether you actually approve that, because any sale or exchange of land, just like this sale of firehouse, has to be approved. So that would have to be approved at the town meeting as well.
Pat, follow.
That was my question. Solid land, I think that's all a good idea, and a way to solve some problems. My question simply was, when the big package was put in, it did say as is. To me, if it says as is, and I'm not an attorney, so I don't know, but to me, if it says as is, that's exactly what it means, as is. So if you have to accept it, you have to accept it. I mean, obviously, the building already has electricity, and you would do whatever you needed to do to bring the heat out, or, the current standards or whatever. And I think that's one of the important parts of the bid, in terms of the language, and like we want to be a little bit conservative.
Okay. Lloyd?
That's not even.
Further questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to make a statement.
Identification for your name.
I'm one of the PZ representatives to the committees that we met on to put out this whole pack. Now, I say we've spent clear as possible. And never, in all of these meetings, do I recall anyone saying that this property couldn't be sold to another business in town or to anyone in town. That's why we made 10 packages and we had. Really? I mean, I'm surprised basically that we got one proposal. But it was open to everybody. And with very much clarity, I think the whole proposal has 58 pages. I wanted to make that clear.
Greg Marlowe, a few questions, if I can read my writing. So you had talked, James, about a community space upstairs, online booking type of thing, which is.
You're gonna have to project.
Yes, thank you. So James had spoke about a community space upstairs and real neat idea of online booking and whatnot. Is that like a community space that is for profit, or if there was a nonprofit interested? I mean, did you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would imagine it'd be something we could work out with whoever runs the gym, who operates the gym business, should I say? I think in our minds, I think they would run the upstairs, but it could be something that could be set kind of aside that could be open for nonprofit. It's really TBD.
Okay, fair. That's fair. I just didn't know if you had a concept yet in your mind. And you sort of answered the other one a couple times. So I just want to kind of circle back on the concept of getting somebody in there to run the gym.
Yeah.
So I guess my question would be, do you have like a rough plan of that it's the right, like, so you're the landlord,
Yeah.
but you're also, I guess my question, maybe it's a question, like, how do you foresee overseeing the quality and the purpose and the use?
Yeah,
Because that's something you become to the town planning and zoning commission for pre-approval
right.
as part of this process. So I guess,
How do I assure the quality of the gym basically and
that, you know, that your concept that you're sharing tonight is the final end
yeah.
of a potential business owner who may not look at it the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I thought about this a lot because, obviously, I think the most important part of this proposal is the person who takes over the gym space and runs that business I was talking for a long time with a person in Millerton, and I thought maybe that was the right person. But I think a lot of my thinking's changed on who that person is, like, for the first kind of couple months, with this idea, I thought maybe it was like a gym person who could run the business, but lately I've been thinking more like I need a business person to run the gym, who could use this purpose-built space to operate a business effectively. So I think kind of just market, capitalism could make it, running a successful business means, making sure that the trainers are there and the equipment is clean and the bathrooms are, and there's a person at the desk and the operating hours go beyond 5 PM. So people can actually go to the gym after work. Making it smart, making it, work for everybody. So.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Moderator, I'm supposed to speak to you. I have a few more if I might finish.
Go ahead.
Questions. How come we're hearing from the board of selectmen when it's the public we should be hearing from?
I'm speaking as a member of the public, Tom.
And at least go through the moderator.
Yeah, no,
I just adjusted myself, Tom. I apologize. I didn't mean to go to the applicant directly. That was an oversight. Mr.
Go
Moderator.
ahead.
I'd be curious to know, how the computer, online feedback session portion is going. Is there traffic, a lot of foot traffic on that?
Do we know now, or is that still a proposal?
Well, it's it's my understanding by going through the online portion that you can put in your name and comments and whatnot, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I'm just interested on the traffic. That kind of, to me, indicates a community, curiousness, enthusiasm, concern, what have you.
well, yeah, I haven't distributed it. It's in the proposal, but it hasn't been, distributed in kind of a public way. So I think now is that time. The URL is pretty straight. It's fvhealth.center. There's a form and it's basically soliciting like your opinions on what this space, who maybe practitioners could be, or what type of practitioners. But in terms of traffic, I haven't checked it, to be honest. But I can check that and report back.
And lastly, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, go ahead, Greg, one more.
The parking issue, biggest issue in that whole area, Railroad Street downtown. I guess I'd want to know the willingness of, in this proposal, to work with fellow business owners in that area. And it's gonna have to also be town involvement, sort of like a collating of sorts. If that willingness is there to get everybody to sit down and let's give this an honest, hard, realistic look.
And you wanna
Yeah.
respond to that too, James?
So if this was just like a normal commercial, real estate opportunity, I wouldn't be doing it. I'm not like a real estate person. But I think because it's complicated and integrated so tightly into this community is what makes it interesting and exciting for me. And that we can, use this as an opportunity to work together and find a solution and make the town great. I think that's the idea. I think, and I think it's really an opportunity to put everything on the table. I haven't met a lot of you, so I hope to meet, when I'm sitting here, but I'm much better at one-on-one. So yeah, I hope we can all talk and find some, with the town, obviously, to find the agreement, make it work.
Yeah, well, I've got Dave, but, okay, Dave Barber.
Mr. Moderator, just want to ask, I believe that James had touched upon it. But how do we make this building ADA compliant since you will have health practitioners up on the second floor?
You want to answer? You answer?
Yeah, I think a stair lift that would be operated by the practitioners would be probably the best. In terms of accessing the second floor, I think that could be a solution. Now, I'm not an expert on all this. So I could look into it further to see if that's actually, ADA compliant. I'm kind of using that term loosely a little, but I'm pretty sure that could be sufficient. So.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Sandy Hannah, 32 Main Street. I think we all have to be sensitive, Mr. Moderator, to avoiding kiboshing other people's ideas. And I just want to make it clear that that's not what I want to do. I remember way back when I lived in Cornwall, and I thought that Cornwall Bridge should have a pharmacy. And I was told, oh, no, you never get a pharmacy in Cornwall Bridge, which was true. Because they do all the data gathering to find out if there's enough population to support a pharmacy there, a pharmacy that would want to make profit. Then here I thought it would be a good idea to get a bike shop, and well, there was an opportunity lost since the one in Cornwall at the covered bridge is doing well. Anyhow, so I bear no bitterness for that. However, I would like to know if the Gillespies have done the data gathering essentially piggybacking on the main idea of what Scott brought up. Have you the data to show that a gym would be successful here? Reason I ask is, I like the way you want to make the building look, it's lovely. But we in the town want our buildings and our businesses to be successful. So it's a question that I think bears asking. Thank you.
They build a little thing. Any answer to that, or?
I mean, I've done research in the area and I think, you know, I'm aware of the why. But I think there is a need for a gym, in this area, immediate area. I know a lot of health practitioners that travel to Torrington and other areas to work with their clients. And I think Lakeville Gym was there, that closed down recently. And I think this is an opportunity to create a space where people could train. And, you know, I think that's the idea. Honestly, that is exciting to me, that the practitioners would be upstairs. And this is what will make it unique, right? Because you could go there to, you know, see a physical therapist and then go down to the gym level or the flex space and use those spaces to train, not have to go to another gym. Or you just go to one place and all these things can happen in an integrated way.
Further questions? Yes.
Mr. Moderator, this is group 7. 2 questions, one's from Town Training, we got the first, and then one from the board is looking. Is the arrangement for the encroachment tied directly to this proposal, or is that something that would go on if the proposal was not voted successful?
Chuck Anderson, ultimately, that's a question for the board of selectmen, so I don't want to speak for them. I think my understanding of working with the board is that the intent was that this is essentially the status quo now. That this, that is the access way to the back of the, as well as the pedestrian. So that if you're giving up control of the property, it would ensure that that is maintained. So that was, so my understanding is that if the property would be sold, this would be the intent to have that done. And there's a benefit to both sides, because there is an approach. And having the extra 30 feet comply with the setback makes it a conforming building. Whether it increases the value of the property from the downside, it gives assurance to the end that they can get to the, because oh, I don't know how to get into the making their deliveries. And so it's a good thing to do, whether or not the property is, at least my opinion. But again, that's ultimately the board of selectmen would, and it's a town meeting, because again, as anything, just like the sale of this firehouse, sale and acquisition of land has to be approved by a town meeting vote.
And the second question for the board of selectmen is, can you speak to how much money has already been spent in preparation to get us to this point?
Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that we have spent, we did investigation of the septic system, and where we could put another septic system to make sure that any buyer that came along would have assurance that it would support the septic system. All that in total, I think, has cost us about $10,000 to this point.
It's not, I think we're pretty close to with everything with 20.
We'll get you an answer now. In totality, including Chuck, Bill, they corrected me, it's closer to 20. And that money was set aside from the ARPA funds.
In the environment.
And
the Environmental Reserve Fund, yeah, we did take some money because we had to do the septic study. Because if there was no ability to put a septic system in there at all, then the building was worthless.
There you go. Further questions? Sue? Good.
Mark, so, bunch of things to cover.
Just identify yourself.
I'm Sue Sweetapple, owner of Sweetapple Hospitality Group, which rents from Colin Chambers, who owns the Great Falls properties. Several things, when we moved into town and bought the building, no one questioned who the landlord was gonna be and who ran the business. So I don't know if any of you are aware that Colin owns the building, and I run the business and own everything inside the building. So there was never any question, because probably it wasn't a town building, on who was gonna run it and how it was gonna be run. I think we've all seen after 13 and a half years how well it's run and how busy we are. Which will also lead to a parking, the second smallest town in Connecticut, all we talk about is parking, but I have 5 rooms, double occupancy, I should have 10 spots. Barely during the day, when my customers spend the night, do I have 3 or 4? Greg can attest, because I text him on a regular basis, that my guys have nowhere to park. They'll park around the corner, they'll park in front of the cafe, I feel that cafe, town hall, they just park wherever they can, and then we'll tell them later at night, come with your car, whatever. I don't think it matters who owns the building, who operates the building. I don't think James should be questioned on who's gonna run his gym. Nobody questions me on who's gonna run the inn. Nobody questions the other businesses, who's gonna run their business. I think they're gonna do a great job. I welcome it. I welcome the people that go to the gym to come and eat at the end, to come and have maybe a beer after they get done working out. Me, who don't wanna try and get a burger night. I welcome it as another business. It's going to beautify this town. We've had no new businesses come into our part of town. This whole Main Street is gorgeous. You make a left. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Shoot. Oh, we're done? We're good.
No, that's it.
I saw somebody. Okay, I guess I got Judy and then go ahead, Judy.
Back in 1972, I believe that was, the Selectman Miles Blodgett decided he was going to tear down the building that was in the parking lot of the firehouse now, to create public parking. And it was beneficial to everyone on Railroad Street, from the businesses, the citizens who lived along near the fire department, who used to use building often. Now that has been taken away from all the residents and the businesses on Railroad Street. We have not been parking in there. We have no place to park. We allow other businesses, the Falls Village Inn, the package store, after we're closed, they're parking in our lot on our property. That's fine. But we are the ones who are paying the price, because you're trying to pretty much run our business by making us move our vehicles out. That's not fair to our customers. That's not fair to our staff. That's not fair to anybody. So this is what needs to be addressed. So are you, James, going to allow any public parking in your parking lot? Because it's desperately needed.
I actually haven't thought about that. Nice to meet you. I think, honestly, like, I feel like once the curb and sidewalk is established, that will create more spaces out front of the building. Now, the lot itself, I think there are some P and Z like requirements, but I don't want to really speak to that, but I imagine those spaces out front will be open for the whole town. And I think right now it's just kind of a free for all because there's no sidewalk or curb or established boundary. So I assume the parking in front of Sue's and will kind of continue throughout that that space on the left side. And so I imagine that will create quite a few more spots. Now the parking lot itself, I can't really speak to that. I don't know what the like requirements are for like so I don't know, if you guys could speak to that.
No.
Yeah.
Vincent has it. I think,
Is there any further answer or,
I think Vincent has an answer to that.
hang on. We're trying to answer the parking question. Is that what we're trying to do? Just,
I think the question was, would we allow public parking?
And my answer is like, I really don't know if that's possible, but I know there'll be more parking available when we put the curb and sidewalk in and establish, you know, the incline into the garage, or to the parking space.
Mr. Moderator, I have a question about parking.
well, I'm sorry, there's a man in the back that's been waiting a long time. Go ahead.
And I just was interested too, about the parking lot. So the parking lot is being sold as part of the property. As I understand it. So then it is a private parking lot. And just want to clarify that. And also, I think the building is totally beautiful. And I don't want to be, I'm curious if there is a plan B if the gym cannot, if the gym operator is not down.
Yeah.
Is there another concept perhaps that's might be considered?
You want to respond to that? Or?
I mean, I think I think you said it, build it and they will come. I think if we make the space, it could be of that, but I think that's the purpose built intention, but I feel like we could find somebody, you know, if we just rented out the top floor, I think that would be actually excellent. You know, so, but yeah, I don't want to, but I'm not sure. That's probably the answer.
Okay.
Well, again, as far as the proposal goes, it's elaborate, it involves a lot of investment money. I'll visit that. The proposer is going to take a big risk. I don't think it's for us to second guess how he's going to run his business unless something happens that requires our attention to it. But I have a subsidiary question. Mr. Blythe, who was first elected, who was first elected, was buried. Dave was there last Saturday, and he's been there. But it occurs to me that if he spent public money to buy that property at the public parking, then the minutes should be checked at the meeting of that time when he was first elected. Because the money was spent to buy that as a public parking lot, and that was its purpose, and that was the purpose the money was spent on. And I suggest that there's some obligation regarding that, if that's public money was spent for that public purpose. And I believe that is something that needs to be considered carefully with regard to how the property would be divided up. Mr. Todd answered my question. It's related to Mr. Jacobs' perception that he was going to be, his business would be excluded from having a business activity at that location. And I would like to know if he would say so. And I accept Mr. Todd's answer, but why he perceived that, what made him perceive that he would be excluded. And then the final question, council, if the inn has used that right away since the firehouse was built in 1955. Does the inn have an adverse possession claim against the use of it continuing into the future? That's all I have.
Do you want me to address that question? I address the legal question. The answer is no, because it's a municipal use. You probably heard of the right of adverse possession.
Question, please.
Sure, the question was, if the inn has continuously used this area as a vehicular easement area, way to get to the property, having to acquire an easement of right. The legal term is a prescriptive easement by virtue of their use for a 15-year continuous period. Because that's the law, you heard it right, made adverse possession of easements. And the answer is, adverse possession doesn't apply to governments. It doesn't apply to municipal entities. If it's used for public use, you could say, oh, it wasn't used for public use. I think this was used for public use. So anyway, and I've had some discussions, frankly, when we talked with Mr. Catholic, the Susan's attorney about that. So that's the legal answer to that. There are other questions that were asked.
Before we go on, Dave, did you want to respond to Louis' question?
Sure. Yeah, I received a phone call by somebody in this room. You gotta speak up. I received a phone call by somebody in this room stating that there was going to be a new business, and that's what the town wanted, and I mean, in more words or less, not about.
To clarify, Dave received a phone call from an employee at the town hall.
No.
No, okay, sorry. A member of the commission was asked or told that not to bother submitting a bid, and then after that, both of the selectmen had come into the office and clarified that that was not the case. But initially, we were told not to bother over the phone.
Any other guy? Oh, I got Pat, and then Danny.
Is the use that is suggested for this property permitted by the P and Z regulations?
It would be a change of use application that would have to be approved.
So there would have to be a change of use for this particular use of the building. Would there have to be a change, would there have to be a change of use? Or anybody that went in there because it was fire department?
Any person that goes into that building, unless it's another independent fire company, would have to apply for a change of use.
Has that process been completed yet?
No, it's,
So James would have to go to the planning and zoning commission, and he would have to get permission to do that from the planning and zoning.
it would have to be an approved change of use.
And you don't, and the way it works in terms of going through the steps, that would be done after the bid was submitted.
Yes, it has to be after the bid is submitted. And we've recommended already that P and Z take a look at this and send it to P and Z for their evaluation and comment.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Moderator.
Does it go with?
Pat, just to clarify on that, because there was only one bidder, we had passed it forward to the planning and zoning. The board of selectmen had a special meeting to pass it forward to the planning and zoning to take a look at the proposal and the change of use. Had there been more, the steps would have been a little bit different.
What was that information provided in the information was sent out in the bid package?
Yes.
They didn't change of use?
Yes.
So anybody who bid on a piece of property would know that they had to get a change of use before.
Yes,
correct. Correct.
What time we need to get the approval or not.
Yes,
Yeah, if you look at the, I know it's worded, if you look at the bid package, the closing wouldn't actually occur until after they have students. Because obviously,
In other words, the company making a bid would have some guarantee that the use that they wanted to have that would be approved.
correct, you're right, so they can get out of the deal. The zoning, people says no.
Danny, did you want to follow? That's it, okay. Vince?
I'd like to, have the opportunity, Vincent, maybe is to point out that we're. Nobody can hear you. You gotta yell. I will. We're in the process of the plan of conservation development. This, I wanted to address the parking issue that was discussed. This is not a simple issue that just deals with one business and another business and the interaction. Part of the plan of conservation development, in my opinion, should be a comprehensive approach to parking, in this area, all the way down, across, around. And this should be done with a clear time, not 10 years, but we will write it into the plan of conservation and development with actions we take. But it should include this particular parking situation, but it's much bigger than just that situation. But this is the right time.
Yeah, can I?
Thank you.
Can I speak to that?
Sure.
Just, I would love for an outcome of this meeting to be exactly that. I would love for some actionable, plan from the board of selectmen to just, for the town to like, put some actionable plan into place. So I completely agree.
Yes.
I'm Buddy Williams, and I would like to just bring up the word parking. And I think that this is for a big discussion. I think it's the biggest issue on this whole thing. I think that the Jacobs, if James, the town selectmen should sit down. What is parking? What are we parking? Are we parking the car that I've driven in because I want to go to the inn for lunch, or I want to come to your garage and my car fixed that day? Am I going into the town day for a cup of coffee? I'm only 180, but I'm parking for a period of time. Are we talking about parking that is hourly, couple hours, whatever? Are we talking about cars parked for 5 days? There's a difference. And that's what I think, when we sit down and discuss parking issues, which we can do today, that's what we should talk about. Your business, the inn, my business, 180, everybody needs parking, town hall needs parking. But parking, when I hear parking, I think, I'm going to the grocery store, parking my car, doing my business and leaving. And that's what the town should provide parking for. And that's what we need, town spaces, look at the businesses, and that should be the goal. And then whatever else there is, we have to figure out how to deal with that. That's all.
Thank you. I got Dave and then, go ahead.
Mr. Moderator, I'd just like to turn, has there been any questions? I can't see clearly over there.
Let me,
from
Yeah, I
our-
was waiting till the end for that.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, Zoom.
they'll be up on the screen, and I'm just gonna remind everyone on Zoom to.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
That's exactly what my request. Are there any comments on the Zoom?
Oh, okay.
Good one.
I was holding those till the end. Any further?
Yeah, Corinna Fleming, Bellman Street. A question to James. Does your proposal contain the words, well, the purchase of the property is contingent upon the town of Canaan engaging in good faith negotiations with the applicant to determine a fair and equitable sharing of costs for the required work on utilities, sidewalk, and septic system, end of the.
Yes, it does.
And if the town does not engage in this, is the proposal off the table?
Well, it is a negotiation, right? So I wouldn't say it's off the table. I think it's a negotiation, so it would be a conversation we would have to have. So I don't. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
and it's for that, it's a proposal, so it isn't, this isn't.
Okay. Tom?
Mr. Moderator, I would like to know if the original proposal from Jacobs ask the town of Cambridge for help in developing the property?
I don't.
David could probably answer that. I don't think it did.
It was as is.
As he has stated, as it is.
And he was
So,
actually,
so this proposal here is gonna cost the town money.
right,
And all that's true.
I'm not gonna answer that.
No, no.
Is there an answer to that yet? It seems like it's not there yet, but go ahead.
We are selling the business as is. There are certain things that we might want to do as far as parking goes to put
It's all
some,
about the development of the property.
no. It was stated as is.
Dave?
Just one more comment on what Tom said, was that, my original proposal did have that we were going to lease the parking lot back to the town for like $1 a year for the town to use the public.
Thank you. Go ahead. Denise.
There was more than one bid as is in the original plan. One was $25,000 higher, I believe, than the Jacobs, and it was also as is. Just point out. But I think what some of us might be missing here is an enormous investment by James and his wife and Bunny, an opportunity for a new business, a beautiful building, a cleaned out parking lot, and tax revenue. The building has not paid taxes since 1927. So there's a lot of positive things here, and if the as-is price is 300 and we end up getting 250 or 275, we're still way ahead as a company. That's my point. Thank you.
Further in person. Vince? Go ahead.
I have a question regarding, the parking lot. Which I think was brought up in your original proposal too. So can you rest your idea of the timeline? I know he's on there.
Yeah, it's pretty, I would say very notional. I think it depends on a lot of factors, but I would say spring or summer next year is, because what I don't want to do is lose momentum. Worked on this really quite a lot. Not to mention, you know, raising an 8-month-old and having a job. So, you know, but I don't want to lose momentum. I want to keep pushing this forward. And I'm hoping that this can happen and, you know, hit the ground running. And I do think if we can, you know, start construction before the end of this year, then we could, in theory, finish it by May next year. But yeah, there's a lot to the determine.
Denise, are there any online questions we can ask for? Or
I did send a message to the chat to please enter questions in the chat now, in case anyone missed it that's on Zoom. There's one. I'd like to ask if all the cars at Jacobs really need to be there. There are so many near the caboose and near the historical society. Last year's parade on Belgium Street.
Greg?
Mr. Chairman, I just don't think that's not what tonight's purpose is.
Yeah.
In my opinion, so I would not put that question forth.
Yeah, I think, I'll make a determination. That's probably not what we want. That's in the future. If anything. Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's not germane to tonight's meeting.
Yeah, it's
I
about,
believe it's Mr.
somebody else.
Moderator's answer.
it's not about this proposal. Okay, any other questions?
Nothing else on here.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, does the town or should the town make some sort of arrangement on that building? Why haven't we already, as far as that encroachment? How can we sell it when there is an encroachment? And I'm really worried about maintaining the walkway to, add, stuff like that, who's taking care of that when it's covered in snow? Nobody quality is hurt there, who's responsible? We don't already have an agreement. The inn needs the right of way around the outside, and room for their dumpsters and for the garbage truck to get to the dumpsters. And we never made an agreement for that. Regardless of who owns the firehouse building, we need this agreement, some sort of right of way or something. Why can't we get that done?
Okay, is there an answer to that or not yet?
We're working towards that, and, the inn has hired an attorney, we've been in consultations, we had the engineer, he gave me a revised plan that I've shared with the attorney. That shows some additions, and I think we're moving that process.
One of the questions is who's liable for liability insurance? You might want.
Okay. Can you answer that? Is that not for them?
It's probably not your name, but everyone has insurance, and if I'm the one that gets injured, I sue everybody. So what you do is whoever gets, the town has insurance, whoever the property owner has their own insurance. And typically, and I'm assuming that this is an interest in land that would be owned by the inns. If mentioned that it's covered by their insurance, so it's probably depends on the circumstances.
Mr. Moderator.
I think it's a good point. I do wonder why, before, the business for that, why that arrangement wasn't made with Susan, so that whoever bought that property would know that, that there was an approaching on the back, it's the agreement, and it was gonna be some type of revenue, through the parking lot, or whoever purchased the old firehouse. That does seem strange to me too.
Thank you. Did I add to that? I have two.
Okay, sure.
So the firehouse has not been sold before, so the encroachment issue hasn't had to be addressed. When we bought the Falls Gym, we were very surprised that we inherited the back of the firehouse. We had never tried to do anything, we've never asked anything, we whacked the back of it, we tried to take care of it. And also, the issue Bunny was talking about, the parking and the conversation I had with Gail McTaggart, my attorney, is it's not parking, it is storing cars. You've seen what that parking lot looks like. Leaking gas, leaking oil, these cars, I have pictures that have been there for over 6 months. Some don't have plates on them. We do not have a junkyard permit in this town. So there should be no unplated, no stored cars. It's not an issue of liability. We've never asked who has the liability in that parking lot. Who's covered if I slip in oil or gasoline from a car that's stored there? So I think that's a total moot point. And I think back to the firehouse and the encroachment, the building has never been sold before. That encroachment has been there since the firehouse was built.
Right, it's mine.
If we
Yeah,
inherited
okay.
it, it's not.
I think the point is that should be worked out, maybe even sort of good. But that's, I'm just what I get.
There's two very valid land use lawyers that are handling it. It's not anybody else's problem in this room. It's Gail McTaggart and Charles.
Yeah, the town falls.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's important for all these people. Okay, any other questions? Okay. What?
I would like to respond to that, just in the fact that DOT had been informed, or DEP had been informed of the vehicle so-called leaking in the parking lot. They showed up, they did a thorough inspection of all of our property and all the vehicles in the parking lot. There's paperwork. There's paperwork.
Thank you. Any further Okay, we'll declare this informational meeting adjourned.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.